Fit-for-purpose modern schools to be constructed across Barbados. The Home Affairs Minister stresses the importance of the Cadet Corps in shaping productive citizens. Barbados getting international help with its assessment of Hurricane Beryl's impact.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Government is committed to providing modern, fit-for-purpose school plans for the nation's children. That assurance from Prime Minister Mia Motley as 12 finalists across 3 categories in the Modern School Infrastructure Design Competition were rewarded for their efforts. The architects received tokens of appreciation during an awards ceremony held at the Lord Erskine Sandiford Centre today. Wendy Burke has that report.
Prime Minister Mia Motley is insisting that government intends to provide Barbadian children with modern, fit-for-purpose school plans. She says the notion of sending children to dreary, damp and grey schools can no longer suffice. Ms. Motley made the declaration while addressing an award ceremony for 12 finalists in the Modern School Infrastructure Design Competition.
We are not about a concrete jungle. This is a process that will take 5 to 7 years. But this government has said, so long as we can begin to turn the corner fiscally, we will start. We have started. And we believe that as long as our fiscal circumstances allow it, we will continue to ensure that our children function in environments where everyone, not just the children, but the teachers, the ancillary staff, the parents, everyone will feel comfortable being a part of. And to that extent, this is critical.
Through the competition, architects registered to practice in Barbados submitted design concepts suitable for modern school infrastructure, which capture the key factors for education transformation, climate resilience, and sustainable infrastructure. They made submissions for nursery, primary, secondary, and special needs schools. Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Kay McConney, says the model designs for school infrastructure are more than about bricks and mortar.
They're about transforming spaces into dynamic hubs of collaboration, of creativity, and of innovation. Our redesigned spaces here in Barbados will be flexible and adaptable, promoting teamwork and critical thinking. Classrooms will support different group configurations, learning styles, and, of course, project-based learning. Collaborative areas will encourage students to brainstorm ideas, to solve problems together, and to unleash their potential as future leaders and innovators.
The competition was spearheaded by a planning and evaluation committee.
A report there from Wendy Burke. A government minister is stressing the important role the Cadet Corps has played over the years in shaping many boys and girls into becoming upstanding citizens in several fields of endeavor, including law enforcement. Minister of Home Affairs, Information and Public Affairs, Wilfred Abrams, made that point while encouraging the organization to do more. He was addressing cadet leaders from across the Caribbean. Rachel Agard has that story.
The time has come for leaders of regional cadet organizations to change the way in which the program is delivered to draw more youth to the group. That's the view of Minister of Home Affairs, Information and Public Affairs, Wilfred Abrams. A former cadet himself, he says every secondary school student should be made to join the Barbados Cadet Corps or another national youth organization. Mr. Abrams was speaking at the opening ceremony of the 37th Caribbean Cadet Association of Commandants Conference. It's being held under the theme, Advancing Regional Interests Through Common Values, Shaping the Future, Empowering Our Youth.
The knowledge that cadetting across the region continues to be so vibrant and attract such a large membership is a strong indication that the future of our region is in good hands. This is more important today than perhaps at any other time in our history, especially given the complex daily challenges that confront our young people. These challenges are a threat to the very fabric of our society and threaten to derail the development of our youth and our nations. The scourge of gang violence, illegal guns, and drugs and other negative influences which seek to exploit and sidetrack our youth can be considered an existential threat to our future, which the cadet movement must repel.
Minister Abrams also challenges heads of regional cadet units to continue to develop and implement strategies and programs for the expansion of cadetting regionally.
To this end, I fully endorse the participation of secondary school students in the cadet program. I encourage every boy and girl to join the Cadet Corps or some other youth organization which aids in their social development. It is clear that young people who become involved in these organizations are less likely to engage in negative activity.
Chairman of the Caribbean Cadet Association, Brigadier the Honorable Errol Johnson, says although there are many cadetting success stories, he is unsure of any substantial research or documentation on the impact of cadetting through the years. Brigadier Johnson says commandants are cognizant of the environment rapidly changing and that the needs of the new generation are not the same as 20 years ago. And he stresses they must now band together and answer some pertinent questions.
Is our present training syllabus sufficient for the needs of today? How can we align our training to the school's curriculum, the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, and the various vocational curriculum in our region? Does our training support the personal development and growth of our cadets?
It is the Corps' intention to take cadetting to all corners of Barbados and the Caribbean. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, believes more opportunities must be provided for the country's youth if it is to see a reduction in crime. He made the link between crime and economic growth during the annual general meeting of the Barbados Labour Party's St. Lucie branch. Senator Blackman says many young people who find themselves behind bars are incredibly talented.
But because there was a gap, sometimes, come from broken homes. Sometimes it came from different circumstances. It slipped through the cracks, and then that void was filled up with bad company. But if we create more opportunities here and ensure that those opportunities can relate here and be felt here, you close that gap. And that's why ministers have to work with MPs, have to work with community leaders to ensure that as we grow the pie for the country, the ordinary young man and woman can benefit. And once you see that, you're going to see a reduction in crime over time. It's not an overnight fix. I'm not here to promise you any overnight fix. But it is necessary if we are going to continue to enjoy the quality of life that we've come to enjoy.
Let's turn our attention to what's happening in the U.S. now, where over 100 congressional Democrats have endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris after President Joe Biden gave her his blessing. This follows the president's announcement yesterday that he was no longer seeking re-election. Let's look further now, and joining us to talk a little bit more about what this all means for the U.S. elections and even for Barbados is political scientist and pollster Peter Wickham. Peter, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening, Pearson.
Thank you for joining us. What do you all think about all of this happening now, and what does it portend for the Democratic Party in the U.S.?
Yeah, but I think that we all agree the Democratic Party is energized in a way that it hasn't been for a long time. It's difficult to say that in the last few weeks, President Biden has not appeared to be a liability to the Democratic Party. I think that in one fell swoop overnight, the Democratic Party is now in a position where it feels that it can win this election. The path to victory before was quite unlikely. The reality is that President Trump is likely to create substantial confusion and chaos in the world order. It would have had a natural impact on the Caribbean, of course. And I think that for all of us, there is a sigh of relief being breathed because we simply realize now that there's a distinct possibility that Democrats can pull this thing off in a situation before where it seemed highly unlikely.
A day is a long time in politics. How really, truly likely is it that it can mean a win for the Democrats at the end of the year?
Yeah, and I think this is an important point. No one is suggesting that now Kamala Harris is there, that she automatically gets a nomination, or alternatively, she automatically wins. At the same time, it appears as though there's a path, and I think that the path is enough to give energy to the campaign, to give motivation to the campaign, to give money to the campaign, and essentially it makes it all possible. But look, the reality is that President Trump is still a significant adversary. But I think that when it comes on to it, we are now comparing a candidate that has substantial baggage with a candidate that has very little or none at all. And I think that probably Kamala Harris's major challenges are she's not an outstanding orator, but then neither is President Trump. She has an association with President Biden's weaknesses in the past, which were a problem for her. But ultimately, no, she comes in with very little baggage, and she faces off a candidate that has substantial. So, as I said, the path is there, and I think that is essentially what is giving some energy to the campaign, and that's what people are seeing now in the 24 hours.
She still has to be endorsed, though, by her party. Do you think that to be a possibility? And if so, what challenges do you see within her party that would prevent her from receiving the nomination?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, we watch the Democratic Party with interest because they have a fairly distinct process for nominations, for persons walking towards nominations, and the order will be followed. We have to wait to see whether, as the convention approaches, whether she will be challenged, and if she's challenged, how the primaries will go, if they will do blitz primaries, or alternatively, whether they will have some mechanism to open up the convention to allow persons to choose. So they have a very well-ordered process for making selections, and as I said, we watch it with great interest. But, one way or the other, she is in a good position now to walk forward. And already we have had no challenges coming forward. I think that what people are doing is lining up to see if they can be a potential vice presidential pick. Even if there is a challenger, she can see that challenger off, or alternatively not, and the party can determine who they want to go forward. But they have very good rules and regulations. This is historic, however, so close to the party's meeting, the party's their annual conference. And I think that will really be the challenge, and it will mean that they will not have to make new decisions and approaches, on the eve of a convention, which is something going to be completely new and novel to them. But I think that the party's mechanism can handle it.
Whichever party wins, how do you see it affecting Barbados' interests?
Yeah, this is a long-standing issue that we've discussed. Generally speaking, Caribbean islands tend to do better under the Republicans than under the Democrats. The irony is that the vast majority of Caribbean people in the diaspora and so on would always support the Democrats, but we appear to have done better under the Republicans, and largely this is because if someone loves you, you don't have to win their support. And I think that that's the reality with which the Democrats have viewed us in the past. So they have never really had to work to win our support. But that's a historic matter which we can probably delve into another time. I think at this point in time, however, we are looking at the fact that world order is threatened. The NATO is threatened by President Trump. The war in Gaza is threatened by President Trump. The war in Ukraine is threatened by President Trump. So I think it's beyond a situation of how the Caribbean people will react. I think it's a situation where the global order really requires very much that you not have a President Trump in office, because he will essentially return to a situation where it's America only as opposed to America first. He calls it America first, but ultimately it's America only. And this will impose a level of chaos and confusion on the global world order. And my sense is that the Caribbean will also be impacted by that as we go on. So if you say Caribbean people, for example, are concerned about the war in Gaza, and the reality is that we appreciate that if President Trump became president again, that he would probably have very, very little time for any kind of pro-Palestinian cause. Certainly Biden doesn't necessarily have the kind of time we think he should either, but the situation can become worse. So my sense is that if you view us as part of the world, yes, definitely we are looking towards a democratic victory with some hope that it will make our situation no worse than it currently is.
Seems to be a topic you'll have further discussion on tomorrow morning on Let's Talk About It at 9 o'clock on Q100.7 FM. Peter Wickham, thank you so much for joining us. Political scientist and pollster Peter Wickham sharing his insight this evening. The United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean has responded to Barbados' request for assistance with a damage and loss assessment. The agency has sent down a team to the island to cost the impact of Hurricane Beryl on Barbados' fishing, tourism and coastal sectors.
A team from the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean is in Barbados to conduct a damage and loss assessment. Their mission relates to the passage of Hurricane Beryl on July 1st. Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, said the assessment will aid in government's decision-making process.
The purpose of ECLAC being here this week is really to help the country to see from an assessment point of view damage as well, where we are. And that will also allow the government to be able to be in a position to cost these things and to be able to then plan our response going forward with respect to how do we build back. And one of the things that became very clear this morning is the whole issue of resilience. Small island developing states, it's no secret that we have continued to have challenges with respect to our infrastructure and the resilience of that.
With infrastructure a priority, Minister Blackman was asked about the absence of an enforceable building code in Barbados. This was his response.
The issue of the building code is a priority for government, not just the government of Barbados, across the region, given the impact that climate change is having on our infrastructure. How we build is going to be particularly important, and therefore our architects, our builders have to work hand in hand in ensuring not just that we build stronger, but that we can build in a way that's still very pleasing to the eye, but that the infrastructure of our properties, of our roads, of our buildings can withstand high levels of impact.
He added that consideration will be given not just to how buildings are constructed, but also where. Dr. Omar Bello, the assessment team's coordinator, said it will be a comprehensive evaluation.
This is a multidisciplinary team. Here we have structural engineers, agricultural engineers, economists, and different professionals in order to do these assessments.
The report is expected to be completed within 4 weeks. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Spooge music was alive and well on Saturday night at the Quilombo Village at Haggott Hall as part of the emancipation season. There were the favorite Spooge rhythms alongside some new and vintage calypsos as Barry Chandler and Mr. Blood gave thrilling performances.
The pair of Mr. Blood and Barry Chandler had the stage on full lock as they belted out tune after tune in the Spooge rhythm. They performed some of the well-known and loved pieces of yesteryear.
There comes a time when you must cry. We're gonna miss the water until the world runs out. Ooh, yeah.
And the audience also got involved to Blood and Mikey's 2024 Heart of the Party. And Barry's Sousey remix for the 50th anniversary of Crop Over was also well received.
Mark, good evening.
Very good evening to you. We're going to start with cricket, where Kieran Pollard and his MI New York are the fourth and final team to qualify for Major League Cricket's 2024 playoffs. Last night at Grand Prairie Stadium in Dallas, in a must-win match for both teams, New York sent Los Angeles Knight Riders into bat and dismissed them for 130 in 19.1 overs. Andrea Russell top scored with 35. That included 6 fours and a 6, while player of the match Rashid Khan took 3 for 22. New York responded with 134 for 6 of 17 overs to win by 4 wickets. Nicholas Pooran got 35, while Pollard was unbeaten on 33 off just 12 deliveries, with 2 fours and 3 sixes. Now, both New York and Los Angeles ended the regular season tied on 5 points, but New York have a superior net run rate. Sticking with football, the West Indies with cricket, that should be, the West Indies on the 19s are now tied with the United States on the 19s in their Women's T20 International Series after winning Game 2 today at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground in Trinidad. USA's on the 19 women won the toss but were bowled out for 65 in 18.1 overs. Left-arm medium pacer Selena Ross took 2 for 8. The Windies on the 19s women responded with 69 for 2 from 13.3 to win by 8 wickets. Najani Kumabach top scored with 26 not out that included 2 fours and a 6. Game 3 is set for Wednesday. And in a different type of cricket, tape ball, a Barbados national team is in Dominica playing in the 2024 Caribbean Tape Ball Triangular Series. The competition runs until July 25th and includes teams from Dominica and St. Lucia. It will aid in selecting a West Indies team to represent the region in the first T20 Tape Ball World Cup to be held in Texas next year, where over 20 teams are expected to participate. Now, before leaving for the competition, Director of Tape Ball Cricket Barbados, Ellie Holford, said he was confident they would do well.
You can see the enemy, the guys off of Dominica this evening. It started just after COVID. Winston Haynes, Aslam Bika and myself, we came up with the idea to do a tape ball tournament that we would stream across the world. We had the ITC, which is the International Tape Ball Council. They got wind of it and thought it was a good idea to have Barbados come on board. As you know, there's a World Cup next year in Texas, and because of that, we have a tri-series now starting tomorrow in Dominica with Barbados, Dominica, and St. Lucia. So the idea is to have both teams in the tri-series, then to make a West Indies side to go to the World Cup next year in Texas.
And they have indeed started well, winning both games to date and advancing to tomorrow's final. First, Barbados defeated Dominica at Londonderry Playing Field by 227 runs. Then today, they beat St. Lucia by 208 runs. The Barbados national team made 248 for 9 of their 20 overs, then dismissed St. Lucia Nationals for just 40. Now, Barbados will take on the same St. Lucia again tomorrow in the final. Switching now to basketball, where PhD Hoops of the United States capped off their fast break tour of Barbados with victory by both their junior and senior teams to take the overall series 6-2. Playing at the BCC gym on the final night, PhD Hoops junior side defeated the Clapham Bulls junior team by 8 points, while the senior side came from behind to edge a Barbados select team by 3. CBC's Damian Best reports.
Clapham Bulls juniors against PhD Hoops in the blue. Block shot leads to a fast break, and the man with the hot hands all series long, J.S. Yadsina, having some fun. Game high 36 points. The Bulls moving the rock well. They had 2 players in double figures. Captain Knight Brown in the paint for 2 of his 18. Bulls led the first quarter 14-11. Caleb Gaskin from deep, yes sir, made 3 of 8 from long range to finish with a team high 20 points. It was a nice seesaw battle with halftime looming. PhD Hoops, slight advantage, penetrate and feed to Rich Garcia, bucket and the fall, had 11 points in the contest. The visitors edging the Bulls at the break, up by 1, 33-32. Switch of ends for the second. Garcia finds Caleb. Colombo, Yadsina to the rack for insurance. What a sight. And PhD Hoops will go on to secure the victory by 8 points over Clapham Bulls juniors, 77-69. On to the feature game. Barbados select in the yellow and blue trim, playing PhD Hoops senior team. Rashid Maynard across the lane. Teardrop 2. 20 points to his credit. Very next play, Robert Fye II. Sugar from downtown, 19 points in the till. But it was the home side sitting pretty at halftime. Kasarian Adams with the left-handed finish. Eye candy. Barbados closing out the first half, leading 51-48. Maynard, left side of the D, hand in his face, no problem. Then Darren Hurley creates space, elevates and buries the triple. 14 points for the skipper. Second half we go, change of ends. Barbados stretched that lead to 7. Hurley shows his handles, fadeaway jumper, add 2. Fast forward fourth quarter, the victory in sight. Steal by Tariq Harewood. Monster jam. 5 minutes to go. PhD Hoop senior team started to cook. Adam Brazil, step back three. Team high 21 points. Well, they chipped away with every possession as Barbados blew a 10-point advantage. Offensive board, and Tyler Dierman, a long-range missile on target, finished with 20 points. Their defense stifling as well, and that led to massive returns on the other side of the court. Brazil, lethal, supporters loving it. Down by 1 point, less than a minute to go. Barbados with possession, total madness. They throw it away. Oh my. And that, my friends, will prove to be detrimental. PhD Hoops with a chance to come from behind. The running floater from Brazil. It's Samba time. They lead by 1, 96-95. Dying moments now, Barbados down by 2. Hurley is fouled. And he would shoot from the charity line with a chance to tie. 5.8 seconds left in the game. Misses the first, but sinks the second. Barbados forced to fall at the other end. Dierman, well, he's perfect from the line. 2 for 2. One last roll of the dice. 3 to tie and force overtime. Inbound pass. Adams, goodness me, a foot on the line. Referee says it's going the other way, a turnover. And that, my friends, is where Barbados lost the contest. PhD Hoop senior team with an exciting 99-96 victory over Barbados. Heartbreak for the hosts.
Thank you very much, Damien. We'll get them next year.
Business now, using digital transformation to bring ease to everyday life, is getting the attention of a cross-section of finance specialists and economic wisemen and technocrats at the 44th Annual Review Seminar of the Central Bank of Barbados. The 5-day exercise, called Digital Transformation Beyond the Buzz, started at the Radisson Aquatica Resort today. Trevor Thorpe was there.
Chief Executive Officer at Sagicor Bank, George Thomas, told the meeting, using and leveraging technology to bring ease and comfort to our lives is what digital transformation is about. He said in general terms, digital transformation is defined as the integration of digital technology into all areas of life and business, resulting in fundamental changes to how businesses operate and how they deliver value to customers. He also said at the core of the development is to use digital transformation to meet the challenges of a new world order.
We are transforming from a more analog society, if you will, where we have to actually physically go places and see things and touch them, to do them to a place where we can use technology to simplify our consumption of services, whether it be educational, financial, paying for goods and services, actually being able to preview goods and services before paying for them.
Regional Director, Swift Caribbean Markets, Keith Waldo, told the meeting digital transformation is the integration of technology into everyday life and a bid to remove complexity while improving efficiency and speed.
We've reduced complexity in buying and selling. The cashier no longer needs to worry about the validity of your money. You have the ease of being able to buy whenever you want, wherever you want. So for us, really, that's how we see digital transformation. It's really how we embed digital technology into everyday life, into the things that we do, hopefully, to give us a better quality of life.
And before declaring the seminar open, Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Dr. Kevin Greenwich, said that the review meeting is coming at an opportune time in our development as climate change, globalization and competition are high on the agendas of Barbados and the region.
This competitive disadvantage that we have can lead to, again, slower or reduced economic growth and financial instability. Furthermore, as the global supplies chains evolve, our region must adapt quickly and remain relevant. And that requires significant investment in infrastructure, in education, in technology, to improve our competitive and economic resilience.
The 44th Review Seminar continues at the same venue tomorrow. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Time for tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Palace Amusement Company Limited with 11,512,136 units was the volume leader, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Trinidad Cement Limited was the volume leader with 15,000 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $39,000, followed by Massey Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, First Caribbean International Bank was the volume leader, trading 22,623 shares at a high of Barbados $2.10 each, and they were followed by Goddard Enterprises Limited.
We're back with more sports. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you very much. Olympics, as promised, as Paris 2024 draws near, Sagicor Barbados and the Transport Board have teamed up to launch a branded bus inspired by Sade Williams. Williams is the island's biggest medal hope for the upcoming Olympics as she competes in the women's 400 meters. Sagicor's Executive Vice President and General Manager, Paul Innes, says they are happy to be a part of an initiative that brings hope to the community.
Sade is actually exemplify what we as a country would like to see among all our people, and that is pursuing excellence. As you see this bus move around the communities in Barbados, we hope that it inspires others to be as driven as Sade, to pursue excellence, and to commit to doing the very best that they can, because Sade actually demonstrates that she's driven to succeed. And we want to see her succeed at this year's Olympics, and the reason for our long-term commitment to her.
Chief Operations Officer of the Barbados Transport Board, Linda Holder, praised Sade for her progression on the track.
Sade has shown us by how she has progressed through the years that she symbolizes everything that we in Barbados stand for. And we are so proud to have been asked to join with Sagicor in this activity and to be able to represent what Sade and the Transport Board and Sagicor strives to deliver to the community at large.
That's sports.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen for the crew. To all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.